Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. I'm Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network, and tonight we have a good one here. It is now up to, if you can believe it here, folks, it is race number 16 here tonight. That means after tonight, only one race left before the playoffs start here. And of course, playoffs being top 15 cars and standings, and a lot on the line for that, of course. Bonus points for winning a race. Besides that, everyone comes into that show, that 3-race sprint, dead even in points. So a lot on the line these next couple weeks here. But tonight, first and foremost, drivers will have to try and tame the Lady in Black. We are heading to Darlington here tonight, and it looks like it should be a good show here as we have 136 laps. Going to be the distance here tonight. Looking quickly at practice times here, Jeff Pogo leads the way over Nick Larson, Mike Kelly in third, Bentley Glasser in fourth, and Wesley Donaldson in the 91 machine here shows back up tonight. Remember, Donaldson last time he ran, I believe, picked up a win at Phoenix. So a 91 car, keep an eye out for him. But it was points leader Jeff Pogo with the quick time. But that could all change right now, folks, as we head on over into qualifying here tonight. Of course, with qualifying, going to take your best lap time of the 2 lap times. And then that will set tonight's starting lineup for 136 laps. We take a look here at the 36 Mountain Dew machine. This is Bentley Glasser here, so Bentley will go on the clock here at the start-finish line. A little bit loose there off of turn number 4. You kind of saw that car shimmy its way right towards the wall here, but that's the name of the game here with Darlington here tonight. It's going to be how close can you get to that wall. Use that air pocket as best of you can with your ability here, and that will get you a pretty good lap, pretty good race pace, because if this race spreads on out, cautions don't come out as often as you think, as the racing line here pretty thin So it's going to take an incident on the racing, pretty much the racing lane, as you see right here on track. So pretty much 3 car lengths is really the gap you get to get a caution. So something these drivers are going to have to keep in mind. As here we go through 3 and 4 for the final time for the 36 machine. Lap number 1 was a 29.10 for Bentley. We'll see if he can go faster here. It looks like he can, but only a 29.08. That'll put him P number 4 for the time being. Right now, it is Chad Coleman with the quick time with a 29.02. That is the time to beat. As we see more and more times here rolling in on the leaderboard on the left side. As right now about 1st through about 16th here are separated by less than a second. We now take a look here at the 97 machine of Jeff Pogo. Pogo just rolling out onto the speedway here. He is looking to beat that 29.02 because, as we all know here with Darlington, track position matters a lot. As I think Pogo may have gotten a Darlington stripe right there through 3 and 4 coming to the green flag. Looks like no real damage, though, on the right side of that car, but definitely something we got to keep an eye on here. Looks like some drivers getting a lap time. Scott Simley slides into P number 11, and Frank Zingen. Frank right on the bubble, of those cutoffs. So, you know, that 62 machine going to have to be on his game. Luckily, the last couple weeks he has been, so he just needs to keep doing that. He will jump up to 11th here as Jeff Pogo here. Lap number 1 will put him no time. It looks like Pogo did get a piece of the wall there on lap number 1. So here we go. Going to be lap number 2. That's all he's going to have an opportunity to do here tonight. Also out on track, another fast driver here tonight, Anthony Calatoni. We'll see where Calatoni can go. As Joe Hudson, a great lap. He'll put the 23 machine inside the top 10. Pogo will come across the stripe here. Only 17th when it's all said and done, a 29.32. So definitely not the lap that Jeff Pogo wanted to have. Here we go to Anthony Calatoni, one of the few cars here left on the racetrack. Calatoni, of course, not the normal paint scheme, a little throwback here on the 84. So always really awesome to see a throwback paint scheme here at Darlington. And Calatoni rocking one little bit of a bobble there off of turn number 4. But the 84 machine lap number 2, I believe, in the books. And Calatoni only going to be P22. As we'll see if he's able to do another lap. But with us jumping already into turn number 1, I think the 84 machine done here in qualifying, but we'll keep an eye on it, see if it changes, but definitely not the lap that Calatoni nor Pogo probably wanted. They will have their work cut out for them in the race, as that Calatoni does get a second lap there, and he will jump up to at least 16th here. So him and Jeff Pogo going to start nose to tail on the outside roll. But man, when it's all said and done here tonight, it is looking like Chad Coleman will walk away here tonight with that Riptide Radio Pole Award. So congrats to Chad Coleman. I believe yet another pole. I'm going to go try and see here, see how many he has already this season, as I know this cannot be the first for that 38 machine. As yeah, actually it looks like only number 2 of the pole awards here, as Coleman on the pole here tonight for the Lady in Black 185, as we get now ready to head down trackside and go through tonight's starting lineup. Hopefully we're all pumped on up, because here we go. Tonight's starting lineup will look like the following. Chad Coleman in that 38 machine going to lead the field to the green flag. The field is going to have its work cut out for them with that car here on the front row. Another driver here having a lot of success here. Hasn't quite got that first win yet, has been close. But here tonight, the 42 machine of Sam Harrell starting on the outside of the front row. Pretty good looking there. Then we head back to row number 2 here. Rolling off P number 3 will be the 2 car. That is Nick Larson. And to his outside, his teammate in the 6, it is Johnny Barker. Rolling off P number 4. Cody Meadows here missed the last 2 weeks here tonight, so his drop weeks are done, used on up. But Cody here still sits, I believe, 4th in points, so still sitting in a pretty decent spot. But the 19 machine of Cody Meadows here rounds out the top 5. Bentley Glasser in the 36 machine. He will start P number 6. Starting in 7th is the 21 of Rob Lowell. Wesley Donaldson here makes his return. The 97 car will start P number 8. And Mike Kelly in the 43 here will start 9. Rounding out the top 10 here is the 23. That is Joe Hudson. Starting 11th is Brandon Guerin in the 1 car. Rolling off 12th is the 62 of Frank Zingen. 13th will be Scott Simley in the 33. Steve Ritter in the 61 will start 14th. 15th going to Ron Holyfield. Rolling off 16th is Anthony Calatoni. 17th going to Charles Van Schoit. Jeff Pogo will roll off 18th. 19th going to Kip Easley. Landed Audit here will round out the top 20. Rolling off 21st is Shannon Wood. Starting 22nd is Chris Brown. Eli Raposa will be in 23rd. 24th is Ariba Caton. Dan Holcroft is in 26th. 26 going to Chris Proger. Doug Sigmund in the starting 27th. Steve Vest is 28th. Bryson Anderson and Kevin Roy here will round out the field as we get ready here to go green flag racing. As the field here through 3 and 4 and into the restart zone. Chad Coleman on the loud pedal, and we go green flag racing here from Darlington. The field for the most part 2 by 2 into turn number 1. This is where it gets sketchy, folks. These cars' cold tires gonna be loose. Contact here, Frank Zingen sideways, somehow hangs onto the race car, but more calamity to follow. As the 25 of Ron Holyfield will spin it on out. And I think, man, for where that caution happened at, that could have been very, very big. But luckily for this field, everyone able to mostly survive. Caden with some damage. Same with the 25 machine of Ron Holyfield. As that will bring out our first caution here tonight, right off of turn number 2. Man, we got to check out this 62 machine if we can up close, see how much damage that car has. Because like I said, Frank here just needs 2 good races. He is right on the bubble of the playoffs, and that 62 machine definitely didn't need to start the night that kind of chaotic. But it looks like he will be able to continue the race. It looks like a little bit of right front damage. As let's take a look here, see what happened. As it looks like maybe Scott Simley and the 62 of Frank Zingen gonna maybe start the contact. As it looks like, yeah, we're gonna go back it on up a little bit more if we can, as they are already sideways. So maybe we just gotta go here from the drop of the green flag here and play it on out, looking at the 62 machine. So keep an eye on that black and red 62 here out in lane number 2. Let's take a look, see what happens here through turns number 1 and 2. As at this point in the start here, everyone given a good amount of space here to both lanes. I mean, the 62 giving himself plenty of breathing room out in front. I think the trouble might come from behind, though, as into turns 1 and 2 here, looking pretty good up in that lane here. And then this is the one of the many pitch points here, as yeah, car down low. And I think, man, that was tough to say whether cars kind of converging on the same spot or if The 62 maybe came down a little bit, but then, yeah, you see the 25 machine going on around there, and that's what would tag the 30 of Caton. And it looks like those 3 cars pretty much the only cars with some real damage here for the time being. So a lot of drivers here getting quite a bit lucky with that one. One driver here left a comment in the YouTube chat lands here with me saying, hey man, I have 0 luck. If this continues, we'll be chatting with us early in this one. But the 7 machine here of Chris Proger able to make it on through. Might have some lady luck here tonight. Hopefully that will be the case, as 7 machine already up 6 spots, now already inside the top 20, as lights are out on the pace car. And once again, didn't make it too far there on the start. We'll see how far we make it this time, but the field ready to rock and roll, already doubled on up, as here we go once again. No real change up towards the front. Still Coleman and Harrell on the front row here, getting ready for the first restart of the night here to kick off lap number 5. As here we go, Chad Coleman gonna pace the field into the restart box. That is the start of it. Then it is quite a big box, as Coleman once again another good start, gonna have the front 2 single filed out. Rest of the field though 2 by 2, gonna try and jockey for position, gonna try and get single filed out as quickly as possible, because right there on the start we saw the trouble with going 2 by 2. Now Nick Larson hard into the wall. Larson will try and get that car rolling as they are wrecking down the back straightaway. Cars all over the place, and no caution has come on out. Green flag still on out, so if your driver there made it through that one, they are going to have to try and get up to speed. Nick Larson here down to pit road, but that definitely spread out the field big time in a hurry, as now everyone very much spread on out in front. Chad Coleman leads the way with a chaotic start to this one. Wow. Yeah, I think at some point we're going to have to go back, try and rewatch that, maybe as the field kind of spreads on out a little bit, because we got a battle for position on the speedway. It is for P number 3, as Cody Meadows putting a ton of pressure here on Johnny Barker. And that is one of the toughest things here at Darlington, is that 2 by 2, and that makes passing that much more difficult, especially early on in this race. We'll probably see drivers say, you know what, if you got the pace behind me, you're trying to go, we'll probably let you go by safely on a straightaway, as we saw now 2 examples of how tough it is to go side by side here, especially right here off of turn number 2, because the fast line going up from the top to the bottom. If you're stuck on the bottom, you really got to pinch that car early and corner exit, where if you're on the top, you really got to hit that arc. If you don't, man, you're into the wall big time, like we kind of saw with Larson earlier. Deeper in the field, and one car sideways. That was, I believe, the 46 machine of Eli Raposa. Raposa will get that car going, but man, not sure if he got some help there from the 31 machine, or if maybe Raposa just got sideways. But you can see the damage on the right front now to that 46 machine. And currently at the moment, Raposa, last car on the lead lap, with the field already kind of spread on out here. Let's take a look at the track map on the right side of the screen, and you can see the 46 already almost a half a lap back here, 10 laps into this one. It looks like from that other incident, the only kind of casualties, about 3 cars involved. Looks like Rob Lowell, one of them in the 21, the other Nick Larson, and then the 52 machine of Chris Brown. So currently Artie the Lady in Black taking claim to about 6 cars here to kick things on off, as last car on the racetrack is 24th Ron Holyfield, and I believe Ron 1 lap down here. So if we do get another caution, he can get back on the lead lap. But already this field here spread on out early. Another car with kind of a throwback paint scheme out here tonight, making his first ever start here in the 802 League, is this 04 of Doug Sigmund. Sigmund here loose off of turn number 4, will hang on to that race car. Man, heck of a save there by Doug, but I was just about to say he was putting some good pressure there on Landon Audit. Now going to have to try and get his bearings back under him, get that right rear cooled on off just a little bit, and then see what kind of lap times he can hit and see if he can kind of reel back in those cars there back out in front of him here. And that's the thing with Darlington, you can go to some of these mile and a halves like Michigan, Charlotte, those kind of tracks where, you can kind of ride on around, turn your brain off if you need to, just to click off laps, try and hit your marks, do all that kind of stuff. Here tonight at Darlington, you got to be up on the wheel every single lap, white knuckling it. I mean, I know people crazy enough here on iRacing that are just in the brake bias, whether it's going into turn number 1 or turn number 3 here. So this track demands full concentration each and every lap, and we'll see that here tonight, as already 15 laps into this one, and has been a wild start here. But yeah, that brake bias trick kind of does work with this racetrack, because as you can even see on the track map to your right there, folks, 1 and 2, a lot different shape than 3 and 4. 3 and 4, a lot tighter there of a radius, so that's why you see guys kind of stay more towards the middle, top side, just trying to keep that momentum, whereas 1 and 2 has that extra radius. You can kind of cut low, let that car drift on up, you have that little bit extra racetrack in that corner, and then recut it back down to kind of make it into 2 different corners on one end of the racetrack. Keeping an eye here on P number 2, the 42 machine of Sam Harrell. Harrell now kind of off the pace on what he needs to be. Chad Coleman starting to drive on away from him, as well as the 6 car of Johnny Barker now all over the back bumper of the 42 machine. So we'll see if Harrell here will hang on to this position, try and really get those guys behind him to use up their stuff, or if we'll see the 42 kind of pull out of line and kind of let those cars go on by on the high side. But right now, Harrell gonna hang out in that racing lane here for the time being, which he has every right to do. That's the kind of nice thing about qualifying up front, is these guys behind you are going to have to work really, really hard to complete a pass if they want to get on by. So it looks like Caden able to get back out on the racetrack. Going to make up a few spots here. Going to get at least 2, as looks like he will pass Larson and Lowell for position. It looks like he will bring it back down pit road, probably going to call it a night here, as it's going to be pretty tough there to make up over 8 laps when it's all said and done. Yeah, let's go see if we can start. I'm going to go try and find here, see what kicked off that second incident, as that was definitely pretty wild to see there. And even more surprisingly, I am surprised there wasn't a caution when it's all said and done. As here we go back, and we're gonna go full speed here, take a look, see what happened down this back straightaway. So this is kind of after the first restart there. This is what kind of spread out the field. So gonna take a look here at the 2 car of Nick Larson and try and see what happened to him, as Larson up in that second groove, up in the marbles. Wesley Donaldson takes a big hit, and then yeah, kind of calamity in front. Bentley Glasser and Rob Lowell making contact. That's where Chris Brown also gets a piece. So let's take a look here one more time off of turn number 2, and maybe this time take a look at the 21 machine and see what happened there. As definitely the 21 and the 36, got together going down this back straightaway. So it starts with the orange car of Nick Larson there, and the two just maybe too high up on the racetrack. Just didn't get that car to turn for that second corner. Bounces it off the wall. Then everyone else evasive maneuvers. Oh, Rob Lowell tried to shoot the gap there. Just got the right rear there of the 36. Comes on across. And man, how did Joe Hudson not get right rear hook there, man? Kip easily just squeaking on through. Same with Shannon Wood. Chris Proger doing a great job as wow. A lot of cars there. Close call, but everyone still rocking and rolling for the time being out in front. Things kind of spreading on out. As it looks like Eli Raposa going to lose a lap here in that 46. So next car in danger going a lap down the 15 machine of Landon Audit. As you see, the wounded 25 machine of Ron Holyfield just going to stay out of that racing groove. Going to try and, of course, stay on the racetrack, but up and out of the racing groove. You love to see that there from some big-time respect from the lap traffic here. That now looks like Johnny Barker here going to have a little bit of lap traffic here. Looks like Eli Raposa also going to bring that car down to the inside of the racetrack there. And once again, awesome stuff to see from those lap cars as already 25 laps in as, we get a second caution here on the speedway. Wesley Donaldson stopped inside the racetrack, and Jeff Pogo will go on around trying to avoid the 91 machine. So Pogo, maybe he started from the pits, maybe saw his starting spot, said, you know what, I don't want to be a part of the calamity. And now Pogo going to have a little damage there on the 97 machine. So let's take a look here, see what brought out our second caution here of the night here on lap 25. So we take a look here at Wesley Donaldson. I mean, Wesley already had a lot of damage there, had a big time impact to the right side of that 91 machine, and it looks like he will get up in the marbles, up against the fence, and will spin that thing on out. Luckily, CVS, Chris Proger, able to, sneak on by. And then we got to take a look here at the 97 machine of Jeff Pogo. Just, gets that thing loaded on up too much on the left side with kind of going from the left to right motion, and that loads on up the left side, unloads the right side springs, and shoots that car hard to the right, and we'll have a little bit of right front damage there as a lot of drivers here get to take a little sigh of relief, get things slowed on down for the time being. But here we go, a little bit of split strategy here on pit road. Chad Coleman going to come on down. It looks like Sam Harrell, Johnny Barker, Cody Meadows, Scott Simley, Kip Easley, Chris Proger, and it looks like Dan Holcroft all going to stay out on the racetrack. Maybe going to take a little bit of that track position versus some fresh tires here. So Chad Coleman, first car down on pit road. We'll keep an eye here on the end of pit road, see who wins that race off. So if you're coming down on pit road, I would assume 4 fresh Goodyear tires, fill it on up with as much fuel as the car can take, and then see what you can do. As looks like Coleman going to be the first on off, then Mike Kelly, Anthony Calatoni, and then Joe Hudson going to be the top 5 on off there from pit road. But when it's all said and done here, it looks like Coleman might be restarting right around 8th. So going to have a little bit of work for that 38 machine, but going to have the benefit of fresh tires. So should be really interested to see how this all shakes on out. As I think here at Darlington, especially anything over 20 laps, I think you got to go take tires. I think staying on out, especially how rare it is to sometimes get cautions here at Darlington with the incident happening on the racing lane. They could be in store, for a really long green flag run, but here we go. Lights are on out in front. It's Sam Harrell, Johnny Barker on the front row. Looks like the 42 machine of Harrell going to elect the outside here for the second restart of the night. Looks like Wesley Donaldson still down on pit road, so 91 getting pretty extensive repairs done. Jeff Pogo tagging on into the field here. Looks like still some right front damage on the car, but he's just going to have to learn to re-drive that car with that damage. As here we go, iRacing pace car on off. Sam Harrell, Johnny Barker on the front row, the 42 of Harrell. In control into the restart zone and will go early. A little bit of wheel spin there from the 6 car of Barker. Let's see how they shake on out going into turn number 1. As Scott Simley going to go on by on the high side as the 33 machine up to P number 2. Cody Meadows going to be clear to third. As Johnny Barker finally finds a little bit of an opening right in front of Kip Easley. Easley now into the top 5 with a little bit of a strategy call here. A little bit deeper in the field here, 2x2 racing for the time being. Looks like the 0-2 of Shannon Wood here under fire. A little bit of Bentley Glasser able to get on around. Looks like Jeff Pogo going to try and do the same. A little bit of a checkup here off of turn number 2. As it looks like a 31 machine of Dan Holcroft not quite getting the exit he needed. He's the last car on old tires here, so the cars behind him going to have to try and figure on out how to get around this 31 machine and maybe try and do it quickly, as that front pack here starting to already check on out. Mike Kelly going to be the first to get on by. A nice move there into turn number 1. How do they get off of turn number 2 here? So far, so good, as that is some awesome racing there. Now the 61 machine here of Steve Ritter going to try and get on around, as it's going to be a heads-up drag race here down the front straightaway. Brandon Guerin there, and a sharp-looking number 1 machine. I do like this paint scheme there. A little Red Bull and the Nike swoosh. That's a nice touch there, but he is able to get on around. Looks like Dan Holcroft, man, he's got the tough task of keeping that car up in that second lane with old tires. I'm sure he's not having a fun time with that strategy call. Few more cars now getting shuffled on back. Now it will be the 7 machine of Chris Broger on those old tires. So Broger trying to keep that motion number 7 up in that second lane for the time being. Able to get a gap there right in front of Steve Ritter, as now Ritter will try and set up the 7. Out in front though, Sam Harrell here leads over the way over Scott Simley. Cody Meadows in 3rd, Johnny Barker 4th, Kip Easley in 5th. And then new tires here as Mike Kelly trying to get P number 5 away from Kip Easley. Easley 2nd in points here tonight. Would love to keep that position by picking up some bonus points for those playoffs here, or else Kip Easley not with a win this season would reset with the regular kind of field lower in the standing. So Easley going to try and hang on, but not going to be anything there for holding off those new tires. As here we go, Mike Kelly and Anthony Calatoni to the inside of the 8 car. Easley going to tag the wall there and get his first Darlington stripe of the night there into turn number 1, as well as off of turn number 4. That's where trouble happens right there, as a car gets in the wall right in front of you and they check up so much that you could get in the back of them. Chad Coleman doing a great job keeping off the 8 car there, but that's how trouble happens here at Darlington. Out in front, though, Scott Simley starting to put a good amount of pressure here on our race leader, and that is because maybe Cody Meadows sits right there as well, and those guys got to be seeing, hey, fresh tires now inside the top 5. Whatever we got on tires, we got to use it on up. Try and keep those cars behind us for as long as possible. Steve Ritter here trying to get around the 8 car of Kip Easley. Looks like Dan Holcroft here for the time being has found his kind of pace. A nice clean track around him here, so the 31 machine going to slide down to about 18th for the time being. Chris Proger hanging on to about the 14th position there in the black number 7. Like I said, Kip Easley here continue to slide on back with those old tires. He is now back to P number 12. Going to have a little bit of some clean track here though. Johnny Barker, the first of the top 4 to get kind of eaten on up and spit back on out as he falls back to the 7th position. As here we go, Mike Kelly now trying to set up Cody Meadows for P number 3. Those two side by side here through 3 off of turn number 4. It's going to be a drag race here down into turn number 1. And if I'm Meadows, knowing that maybe Kelly going to sail it on in there, man, I tell you what, Meadows drove it in there deep. He got the wall big time. As, yeah, it's always so tough. It's a little bit of cat and mouse going into turn number 1 of, hey, man, who's going to be the first car to lift? And Cody Meadows making sure it wasn't him. But with that, going to bounce it off the wall. Going to get his first Darlington stripe of the night. As once again, Mike Kelly back to the inside of the 19 machine. As Meadows trying to hold on to this position as long as possible. Here, Meadows will probably let Kelly go. Going to try and slide into line behind the 43, but Anthony Calatoni says that's not going to work, so Meadows has a tough task exiting off the corner. Actually, Calatoni was the one that got tight into the side of Meadows. Man, both drivers able to do a great job keeping those cars pointing in the right direction, as those two will trade some paint here at Darlington. I tell you what, Cody Meadows not here the past couple weeks, comes back here tonight and right back in the thick of it here. So Meadows picking right back up where he left on off, and that's what he's going to need to do to get some momentum in time for these playoffs, as though he will get the wall once again off of turn number 2. Now here comes a tough one here for the likes of Bentley Glasser and Steve Ritter. Cody Meadows, Johnny Barker, both on old tires, both fighting for position, so neither one of them going to get around there pretty quickly. Out in front though, new race leader Mike Kelly to the point, able to get around his teammate there of Sam Harrell. Anthony Calatoni able to slot into P number 2, as here comes Chad Coleman now trying to get back up into 3rd. So before this kind of strategy stop here, it was Chad Coleman leading the way. Now here we go, Coleman into P number 3. Let's see what he can do, as he has 2 fast drivers right in front of him. Battle out here on the Speedway. CVS in the 41 machine, as well as the 97 machine of Jeff Pogo. That was for P number 15, as Pogo able to complete the pass there, and we'll see what kind of pace Jeff Pogo can have with the damage to that race car. But out in front, it has now been Mike Kelly, Anthony Calatoni with those fresh tires, and those guys out in front about a 29.95 to about a 30.05, whereas drivers with old tires, Cody Meadows a 30.48, Johnny Barker a 30.4, so 0.4 of a second advantage each lap you have on those tires. And remember, those tires for those drivers on old tires about 25 laps older, so not that many laps, and it already makes a big difference. That's old Darlington Raceway for you. As I think we have last week's winner, Kenny Reel, in the YouTube chat lands. Kenny, how you doing here tonight? Hope you're having a good one. Hopefully still kind of enjoying that win, man. It was good to see you back down in victory lane, and I tell you what, it's great to see you once again here in the YouTube chat lands. As out in front, it's been a wild race so far here in Darlington, but right now laps clicking on by, and we get ever so closer to the halfway point here in the Lady in Black 185 here at Darlington. Man, I tell you what, though, this battle far from over. Jeff Pogo able to get clear, but not able to run away from those cars behind him. The 41 and now the 23 of Joe Hudson in the mix as well. As how about this, that pink 21 machine, Rob Lowell, he is back out on the speedway here tonight, so involved in that second big one. No caution with that, but he was able to get back out on the speedway. I believe, let's see when the ticker goes on over, 20 laps down, but could pick up some positions as Chris Brown once again back out of the race. So 21 machine could pick up at least one, and who knows, if they get a big caution before 20 laps to go, he could maybe pick up a few more. As right in front of them, Hudson able to get around the 41 machine of CVS. So now going to set his sights there on Jeff Pogo. All of these cars there pitted on that lap 27. So Pogo, I think, realizing those guys may have the pace, going to let him go on by, knowing he has a little bit of a wounded race car. No point in making some enemies at this point in the race. But here we go. These two gonna race side by side. Woo! Man, does it get sketchy there off of turn number 2. So it looks like CVS gonna back on out of that one for the time being, and Bentley Glass are able to get around Scott Simley for that 5th position, as it looks like Cody Meadows here gonna get swallowed on up once again by some newer tires. Steve Ritter was just able to go on around. Now here comes the 1 car of Brandon Guerin. Guerin trying to get around the 6 as well, gonna be able to do just that there into turn number 1. Now we'll try and time the pass right to the 19 machine. As 1 car here, big time loose off of turn number 4. That is 2 machine of Shannon Wood. He will keep the car rocking and rolling. We stay green flag racing there, but wow, a heck of a save there. Was able to kind of whip that car left, right, back to the left, kind of back it into the inside wall, kind of just bounce it off the wall. And with that, that inside wall kind of strained back out the 02 machine, and he keeps it rocking and rolling. That right rear is going to be burning hot, though. He's going to have to take his pace down quite a bit, cool it on off for a few laps, and then try and turn it back up, but he will survive to fight another day, and that's kind of the biggest thing you want to make sure you do here at Darlington, because you can see it many of times. Drivers will take themselves out just by getting loose off the corner or tight and just absolutely knocking the outside wall down. So anything can happen here at Darlington. And out in front, though, Chad Coleman looking to get back to the race lead here. Has run down Mike Kelly, was able to get around Anthony Calatoni. And Chad Coleman here putting a lot of pressure here on our race leader. Let's ride on board with Coleman, see what he is seeing here from his front dash. As right when we get on by, it looks like Mike Kelly gonna do a smart move there, gonna let the 38 go on around, knows he has the pace. So Chad Coleman back to the race lead here tonight. Let's ride on board. Let's see what Coleman can do here by himself, as well as catching some lap traffic. Always a little bit of a pucker moment for a race leader here. As Caden doing an awesome job there, getting up and out of the way, makes life a lot easier for a race leader. As you heard there, Coleman got a little bit tight right at the apex, had to get on out of it. Now 25 machine of Holyfield going to go up to the outside lane, so Coleman had to really kind of hug that inside dash line, the quote-unquote bottom side of 3 and 4 here at Darlington. And with hugging that bottom side, had to wait just that little bit longer to get on the gas, but able to get on through there safely, and that's the name of the game as Coleman back out in front. Mike Kelly, P number 2. Anthony Calatoni sits in 3rd. That's kind of the front 3 runners. Then a little bit of a gap back to Bentley Glasser here in P number 4. And Sam Harrell, even on those old tires, sits 5 seconds back from the leader, but still hanging on to P number 5. But might not be for long as Steve Ritter, with those fresher tires, starting to run down the 42 machine. Just got around Scott Sim. As we can see once again, Darlington here spreading on out. We take a look here at the track map, and you can see pretty much cars in every corner for the most time. Maybe no cars for a split second there in 1 and 2, but besides that little bit of gap now to our race leader, to Eli Raposa. I mean, cars all over the racetrack here tonight. Of course, the car we are looking at currently, the 42 machine, highlighted in green there on the track map as well. Right behind there, Brandon Guerin here trying to get around Cody Meadows. So Meadows still hanging on to the top 10, even with those old tires. As while Brandon Guerin, Cody Meadows going to trade a little bit of paint there going into turn number 1. Now here comes the 62 machine of Frank Zingen. He will get clear of Meadows, as Meadows will push maybe the 42 machine back on out of it. Make sure he doesn't get into the back there. As Scott Simley having some pace here. Sam Harrell's Scott Simley both on the same set of tires there. Simley might have a little bit better long run, as he was able to get around the 42 machine, as it looks like Harrell, though, falling off the cliff a little bit in pace. And I mean, it's understandable why 61 laps already done on those tires. So a lot of laps for a set of tires here at Darlington for those drivers that did not pit. As here we go, Brandon Guerin going to show the nose to the 42 machine. Maybe not get the run that he needed down into turn number 1, but we'll sail it on there to the bottom side of the 42. Those two going to be side by side here off of turn number 2, as Harrell will just keep it off of the wall, though. We'll lose a little bit of momentum. Frank Zingen able to get on around. Now Harrell will have to crank it back up. Try not to allow Cody Meadows nor Johnny Barker on by, as those guys, of course, on the same tire set as the 42. Those guys will single file back on out for the time being. But yeah, old tires here. Johnny Barker, Cody Meadows kind of running 30.9. Scott Simley, though, still in the 30.4. So that goes to show, if you take care of your tires, you can still kind of run the similar pace of the cars on fresh tires. I mean, last time by, Steve Ritter at 39.39. So right there on pace. You know, new tires are going to be the advantage probably those first 20 laps, as we have our first taker down on pit road under the green flag here. It is a 7 machine of Chris Proger. So here tonight, I tell you what, we're pumped up. Chris Proger making the first round of green flag pit stops, as he will be the first down on pit road here on 65. Remember, Chris did not pit during that second caution, so that was the first time the 7 machine down on pit road. As here we go, Chad Coleman going to get some lap traffic here. Eli Raposa going to stay down low, out of the way. And a bummer for Raposa here is that he is now about 2 laps down, so going to take quite some bit of time. Actually, I was a little mistaken. There was a driver pitted before Chris Proger. I didn't quite catch it the first time, but down on pit road on lap 59, Kip Easley was down, and he's back out there on the racetrack. One of the fastest cars out here. No, he was the fastest car, so Easley having some fresh tires going to try and get back on the lead lap, at least one lap down, as it looks like pitting will pretty much cost you 2 laps when it's all said and done. So definitely a big time risk to come down pit road early. We're definitely hoping it cycles on out because you could be trapped multiple laps down. As Kip Beasley just getting off of turn number 2 by the time the leaders get into turn number 3 there. So he will look to try and, like I said, at least get back on the lead lap here. Chris Broger also down and away. He's actually right in front of the 8 car. So Broger going to have maybe the first driver able to get on around Dan Holcroft down and away as well. So the 31 machine, he's another one fighting to make it into the playoffs here, as Dan Holcroft here coming in 12th in points. So needs a solid night here tonight, a solid night tomorrow, and this 31 machine into the playoffs. Sam Harrell also down and away on pit road as well. Harrell was able to pit high enough and far enough, up in the standings that he was able to stay on just 1 lap down here. So that is a big deal that if they do get a caution, Harrell back on the lead lap as well as some fresh tires on the race cars. I've been yapping about, green flag pit stops here. We actually just got done a few laps ago getting past the halfway point. That was done there on lap 68. So here, folks, we are already into the second half of the race, and with that, we saw drivers make it to lap 61. I would assume these drivers, if they saved a little bit of fuel, could make it to the end of this one with that stop. Doug Sigmund also down here on pit road, so the 04 machine here heading down to pit road, and looks like going to be making his 3rd stop of the night. So I believe he did come down last time to take some tires, so the first driver on those kind of fresher tires coming on down. Remember, these guys about 25 laps newer tires, so they can make it. Most cars down from pit road from 65 and before, these guys probably coming down to pit road anywhere from 75 to about 85 here tonight. As it looks like the 60 machine of Steve Vest here will go 1 lap down. And that is not what Sam Harrell wants to see, as Harrell now not going to be in the lucky dog spot, as that currently goes now to the Valvoline 60 machine of Steve Vest. And I tell you what, I've seen a little bit of deja vu as Anthony Calatoni going around the 60 machine there, as those two very similar paint schemes here tonight. And look at this, Bentley Glasser. He's got some good pace here in this 36 machine. Had a pretty good qualifying effort. Remember, qualified 6th here, but putting all sorts of pressure here on Mike Kelly. Was able to get around Calatoni. So I tell you what, Bentley Glasser, he is on a move, and he has the long run figured on out as that 36 machine rocking and rolling. Only a few drivers have yet to pit here all night long. It's about 3 of them out on track. The best running of them, Scott Simley. He's able to hang out here 75 lap old tires, and he's trying to hang on to 6 here. Frank Zingen, though, trying to put some pressure on him. But, man, that is very, very impressive, as Simley, last time by, able to click off a 30.38 right in line with the race leaders. Man, that is really impressive. Another 2 drivers still out there on 75 lap old tires. Cody Meadows and Johnny Parker, 9th and 10th, still have yet to head to pit road. I tell you what, I gotta give those drivers a big time shout out for hanging on to those race cars as long as they did so far here tonight. Mike Kelly starting to lose the handle here on the 43 machine. his pace the last couple of times have not been where he's needed to be. And right there we see it, Anthony Calatoni able to get on by. As now here comes Chris Proger, going to try and, as Calatoni will get a piece of the wall. Chris Proger, man, I tell you what, great reaction time there from the 7 machine to pull that car low quickly. But yeah, Calatoni now going to have some right front damage there on the 84 right after he got around Mike Kelly. So just as I was giving, big time props to Cody Meadows, he will bring that car down on pit road. 76 laps completed on those same set of tires, as he will bring it on in this time by. Then it only now leaves Johnny Barker, not Johnny Barker anymore, as Barker will bring that thing pit side here, and he will throw in the towel for that first set of tires. Now it only leaves one car on the original set of tires here tonight. Scott Simley still hanging on to 6. We'll call it no more. Scott Simley will finally get to feel what a fresh tire set at Darlington feels like, able to get safely down on pit road. I tell you what, Scott Simley going to be very pumped up to feel the good feeling of some fresh tires on the race car. Cody Meadows, though, pitted at the perfect time, just able to stay in front of our race leader. So Meadows, yet another driver here, currently 1 lap down. And that is quite a few drivers here. As Scott Simley will now go 1 lap down compared to the field. He will try and get that car rocking and rolling as soon as possible. Jack will be dropped. The 33 machine can fire on off. And where does he shake on out? Remember, Sam Harrell also on this strategy, just about to go into turn number 1. So Harrell going to be able to get around the 33 machine. Looks like he will blend back in here in front of Cody Meadows. So Scott Simley going to have to pretty much battle Harrell. As man, I didn't even catch it here. I am very impressed. Bentley Glasser has run down Chad Coleman, completed the pass, and is our new race leader here in the middle of green flag pit stops. As wow, that 36 machine, like I said, I thought he had good long run pace. That 36 has incredible long run pace. As besides those cars on fresh tires, he's about 0.2 of a second faster than any other car on about 50 lap old tires. As man, Bentley is on a mission here tonight and definitely flexing his muscles now, as already has driven away to over a second advantage over Chad Coleman, who Chad Coleman qualified on the pole, led the first 25 laps. Seemed like one of the favorites to win this one, but man, Bentley has been on another level here, especially late run pace. As we see the 23 machine of Joe Hudson here rolling off of pit road, we have the 43 machine of Mike Kelly inside the top 5 rolling onto pit road. So the first driver inside the top 5 heading down to pit road. And that's a good sign, because Bentley Glasser still running some incredible pace. Remember, 50 lap olds on those tires. It's about going to be pretty close to about 50 laps left in this one. So these drivers can split this race in half from here on out from the last time they pitted. So we expect to see a lot more cars here down on pit road. As here we go, we see now Steve Ritter from the 5th position once again down on pit road here this time. Looks like Ritter going to be safely down onto pit road here. Battle for position in the 1 lap down category. Joe Hudson here recently off of pit road here, able to get around the 7 car of Chris Proger. Also Kip Easley running some good pace, even being at a little bit of a tire deficit compared to the cars now out on track. He is tracking down Chris Proger for the time being. As here we go from the top three, Anthony Calatoni going to bring that car down on pit road, and that gives us a good shot there to that damage of the 84 machine. So you would have to expect that is at least affecting the handling a little bit there on the 84. As once again we see Bentley Glasser here out here on the racetrack, and I tell you what, we got to ride on board with him, see what he is doing this late into the race and how well he is running because of it. So let's ride on board with the helmet cam of Bentley Glasser. So you can hear right there, nice and patient onto the throttle there, gets it right where he wants to go. And iRacing can have, sound glitches, but at least from what I can understand riding on board here, sounds like Bentley Glasser leaving that car in fourth gear, at least into turn number 1, and maybe doing the same here into turn number 4. So maybe that is the secret to this pace for the 36, or it could just be the iRacing sound glitch here. As one car here once again to the inside wall. Looks like that is the O2 machine of Shannon Wood. So looks like Wood's night of struggle will continue a little bit longer here, as looks like he's able to get that car at least rocking and rolling. But that car gonna have some more damage on the left side of it, some pretty significant damage there to the left front. And here we go, we see our race leader Bentley Glasser here heading down to pit road. Is one of the trickiest pit roads in NASCAR here, and it looks like Bentley able to safely get on down. So once again, Chad Coleman gonna pick up the point for the time being. As we see, and you can see in the standings there, about the top 7, everyone from Coleman to Wood has yet to pit here in the second half of this race. Now let's add a few other drivers to pit road. CVS down, Chad Coleman down. Looks like Shannon Wood also bringing the O2 machine down here on pit road. So now when it's all said and done, it leaves now just 3 drivers, as Frank Zingen here will pick up a bonus point for leading a lap here, as he will be one of the 3 cars yet to pit. Now we see our race leader, Frank Zingen. He picked up the bonus point, said, that's good enough for me. We're coming down to pit road here this time by. Now it'll be the 1 car, Brandon Guerin, going to stay out on the racing surface here. So Brandon Guerin going to pick up a bonus point as well for leading a lap here. And it looks like when it all cycles on out, looks like Mike Kelly with the point for the time being. So Bentley Glasser are able to roll out right behind the 43 machine. So the 36 did what he had to do, a nice safe pit road entrance and exit. And I got to give all these drivers a lot of props here tonight. So far, no one with a pit road penalty that came down under green flag. That is impressive to see. As Brandon Guerin continued to stay out on track. Same with the 97 here of Jeff Pogo. So those two going to be some of the few cars yet out here on the racing surface. Another driver that has not pitted yet, now bringing it to pit road, actually was the 60 machine of Steve Vest. So Vest will get a chance to slap some new tires once again on that race car here, As Sam Harrell going to try and get around Brandon Guerin. Go around the outside there. Sketchy move. High risk, maybe low reward, as those two still going to be side by side. But here through 3 and 4, Harrell going to be able to get on by. Same with the 38 machine of Coleman. So that'll put some more cars back on the lead lap here. The 38 machine and the 42. As Coleman has a tire advantage, Coleman able to get around Harrell for that position here. So Coleman, one of those later drivers to pit, about 7 seconds back from Calatoni. So Coleman really gonna have to work to get back that time here in these last about 40 or so laps. But out in front here, Brandon Guerin continues to lead the way here tonight at Darlington. I say when, the one car in the 97 decides to come on down pit road, I think it might be a good time to do a little turn 3, turn it up here at the Lady in Black. As it looks like Brandon Guerin here going to do yet another circuit around this racetrack here without pitting here. So I think this one car going to say, you know what, we're going to go run this tank dry, hope for caution. And if it doesn't come out, hey, we're going to go run like it's qualifying and try and see what kind of pace we can run for these last about 35 laps. As we just saw there, the 19 machine of Cody Meadows able to get on around. Same with the 6 machine of Johnny Barker. So now once again, back up to about 11 cars here on the lead lap. Another driver here that has not been to pit road in a while. The 15 machine of Landon Audit. A little bit of damage on the race car, but I tell you what, Landon's still out here, still clicking off the laps here tonight. So got to give a lot of props there to Audit here. As we now see the 62 machine of Frank Zingen back into the lead lap here. So now make it up to 12 cars. Once again, the one car still out here on the racing surface. Still trying to click back off those laps. But they got to be careful here because Bentley Glasser about half a track back. As here we go. I like the call from the one car. Made it to lap 100. Brandon Guerin handing over the race lead here. Going to bring it onto pit road this time by. So Brandon Guerin down to pit road here. It looks like Jeff Pogo going to stay on out. It looks like Pogo going to pass the one car before the start finish line here. So Jeff Pogo, even with a tough night out here tonight at Darlington, you will at least have a little bit of a silver lining. And that is a extra bonus point for leading lap, and everything matters here, especially late into the season as Jeff Pogo right about to get passed by Bentley Glasser. That was the pass for the race lead. Pogo going to bring it down on pit road. So at least timed out just right for that 97 machine to pick up the bonus point. But Bentley Glasser here tonight going to be looking for his first career win. I tell you what, about a almost 3-second advantage to Mike Kelly, almost a 5-second advantage to Anthony Calatoni. He is looking pretty good. He just has to hope no caution flag from here on out. I thought I heard in the distance, maybe from the booth here, a little bit of tire squeal. One car maybe getting a little sideways, but everyone seems like they're rocking and rolling. Could have been the 15 machine of Landon Audit, as Landon definitely off the pace here through turns 1 and 2, and that's a tough break. Like I said, giving him a lot of props to stick this one on out, continue to click off laps here, but that 23 machine might have called it a night, and he just has to pick off a few more, could retire early and not lose any positions. But with things kind of cooling on off for the time being, like I said, let me have the cars do the talking a little bit. Let's do a little turn 3, turn it up here tonight from Darlington. So we head back here to Darlington now, under 30 laps left in this one, and quickly approaching the countdown clock here. And I tell you what, we got a pretty good 4-car battle here shaping on up on the racetrack. It is for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Even with the different tire strategies, when people are pitting differently, those guys right there, all in a mix. These 4, Sam Harrell, Cody Meadows, Johnny Barker, and Frank Zingen. All of them, though, inside the top 10, so don't want to take any unnecessary risk, probably, if they can help it, but they want to get every position they can because they all know every point matters here tonight. As I tell you what, a great race so far here in Darlington. Only 2 cautions, and right now we're on about a 90-lap green flag run. As here comes Johnny Barker. Barker having about a lap fresher tires than Cody Meadows. The guy with some really fresh tires though. Frank Zingen about a 20-lap advantage to those cars in front of him. The question is, how can he pick them on off, as Cody Meadows will get a Darlington stripe there through 1 and 2. Looks like for the time being, those cars that really waited to pit. Looks like Jeff Pogo going to be the first car 1 lap down. You see him there in that 97 machine. But Pogo sits 1 lap down. Brandon Guerin, though, actually is the first car 1 lap down. Excuse me, not even Brandon Guerin. It is Kip Easley. Easily the first car 1 lap down, as he actually just got lapped by our race leader, Bentley Glasser. So if we do get a late race caution, it will go to Kip Easley. So he will try and have to hold his pace to Brandon Guerin. Guerin, of course, about a quarter track back. As once again, let's pull up those track map here on the right side of your screen here, with 25 laps left in this one. That battle for position 7th, 8th, and 9th underway here. Cody Meadows into the side of Sam Harrell. Harrell gonna try and hang on to the race car. Will bounce it off the wall. Will still try and hang on to it. Wow, Sam Harrell going for a big ride there, and that was all just 2 cars side by side in the corner, especially on old tires there, asking for a lot. And especially when tight racing like that happens, man, a car is going to come out with the short end of the stick, and that time it was a 42 machine of Harrell. Harrell looks like we'll get back rolling, though, all the way in about 12th position. Gonna lose about almost a half a track, definitely a quarter track there of track position. So like I said, that battle though far from over as Frank Zingen starting to put a lot of pressure there on Johnny Barker. All those cars able to get around Cody Meadows, who got slowed on up with that incident. So Meadows will hang on to ninth for the time being, but Frank Zingen gonna try and get around Johnny Barker, but it gets big time tight there. And yeah, it's something I haven't mentioned all night, but definitely is a factor here. The good old aerodynamics of the next gen car. You know, drivers always love to mention that, and you even feel it here tonight. You know, you get right behind someone, especially off of turn number 2, that car is going to get tight and kind of want to go straight to that outside wall. So that's why I said even timing your passes is almost as key as getting the pass completed here tonight at Darlington. So things cooling on off for the time being. We head up to the front of the pack here. Bentley Glasser here leading the way with now going to be 20 to go next time by here at the start finish line. Like I said, Bentley just hoping this race, you know, goes green to the end. Mike Kelly hanging on to a nice strong finish here. He sits in the P number 2 spot. And rounding out the podium, the drivers that we could be talking to is 84 of Anthony Calatoni. Calatoni had his work cut out for him. Remember, he started 16th, running in the 3rd position. One of the biggest movers here tonight. Steve Ritter here, a solid effort, just chipping away at things. He sits in 4th, and Chad Coleman decided to pit late there. Was, you know, just a second off on the pit road time, but remember, came off of pit road way behind those cars in front, though he is hanging on to P number 5. Scott Simley was on the alternate strategy, was able to hang on to 6th, back into 6th here. So that 33 machine, man, really impressed me here tonight. Maybe not quite the finish he deserved, but man, definitely earned that 6th. Johnny Barker, like I said, trying to hang on to 7th. Frank Zingen right there in 8th. Cody Meadows 9th, and Joe Hudson here rounding out the top 10. But as CVS closing in on his back bumper though. And like I said, the last car, I believe, one lap down, the car 1 lap down, Chris Proger, he is having himself a pretty good night. Like I said, able to survive the race, sits in the lucky dog spot. Also, a little fun fact, the 7 machine, biggest mover of the night, up 14 positions right now with 17 to go. Oh, one car big time sideways. That was Dan Holcroft. Holcroft will stop against the outside wall here, and that will bring out our 3rd caution. Now with 17 to go, and Bentley Glasser, the one thing he did not want to see, has currently come to life here as the 31 machine will get that car back rolling. I tell you what, those Chris Proger fans going to be pumped on up. He is going to be back on the lead lap here. As let's see what happened here off of turn number 4. As Dan Holcroft there, looks like that right rear just stepping on out from that 31 machine, gonna loop it right against the fence. Man, doing a great job keeping it out of harm's way. The rest of the field doing a great job at avoiding that 31 machine, as that could have been big time trouble stopping right there on the track. But everyone doing a great job, and I tell you what, pit crew's gonna earn their money here tonight once again, as this will be probably one of the most important pit stops of the night, as we'll see everyone on the lead lap here down on pit road to what will probably be the final pit stop of the night, as everyone else out on the speedway gonna try and get the wave around done here, and at least try and get the lap back that way. As here we go, a lot of cars here to their pit stalls. Everyone trying to see where and who will win the race off of pit road. Looks like Bentley Glasser here will be the first car to exit pit road. Then the second here looks like it will be Mike Kelly, then Anthony Calatoni, Steve Ritter, and it will be Chad Coleman. The first 5 cars off of pit road. That will be your top 5 for the third restart of the night. Like I said, some of the drivers here staying on out to get that wave around. The 1 car of Brandon Guerin, the 42 of Sam Harold, and the 93 machine of Jeff Pogo. Looks like the 04 of Doug Sigmund also staying on out. Looks like the 8 car of Kip Easley as well. Going to use the wave around, to get back at least one of those laps here. As we see those cars now getting waved on by here, so they will try and here hustle on around, get back here to the back of the field. But like I said, Bentley Glasser here gonna lead the field back to green flag. What does the 36 have here on the short run? As we know, he's been the car to beat when it comes to the long run, but here we go. That goes all out the window. It's going to be who can hit the qualifying pace here for the next 13 laps. As we sit top here of the front stretch grandstands here, a fan in the stands as we get ready for the third restart of the night. As Bentley Glasser, Mike Kelly here on the front row. The 36 machine here gonna be the one in control. It can fire off anytime. We'll fire off early. I like the call. And we head back to green flag racing here with 13 laps to go here at Darlington. Side by side into turn number 1 for P number 2, but give the spot there to the 84 of Calatoni. Calatoni now trying to pick up the win, and that would be big time as Calatoni sits in the points when that playoff reset comes. So a win here would mean some extra bonus points could help on out as Calatoni all over the back bumper of Glasser, as now we get 12 laps left in this one. A little bit deeper in the field, a lot of cars fighting for position. Trouble though off of turn number 4 as Ron Hoyfield and Eli Raposa here will come to a stop. Green flag will stay on out for the time being. As like we saw a few times here tonight, that incident not happening on the racing surface that iRacing deems the racing surface. So no caution will be thrown. We keep racing with now 11 to go. Last time by though, Bentley Glasser, best lap of anyone all night long. So that 36 machine might have the short run pace figured on out here, and that could be tough news for the rest of the field here. As we look a little bit deeper here, a lot of cars fighting for position here, just waiting for a driver to make a mistake. As we do get a caution here on the speedway. Looks like the 02 machine of Shannon Wood might be involved here, as they are stopped here off of turn number 2, as it looks like Shannon will get that car rocking and rolling, and looks like his night here, already a tough night, might be a little bit tougher, but let's go see what happened to bring out our 4th caution of the evening, as the 02, just like we saw that from that red 31 machine right in front of him, just got a little bit loose off of turn number 4. The right rear steps on out. And like I've said many of times, it is one of the toughest things here to save these next-gen cars, and especially here at Darlington. Man, don't envy those drivers that have an incident like that and trying hanging on for dear life, but that will slow down the field here for the 4th time. And without drivers coming to pit road here, I think we'll throw it on over to a quick commercial break from our partners over at Premier Setup Shops. So a little bit of a late storyline here in this one. The drivers that, took that wave round now have the opportunity to come down and take some fresh tires. So Brandon Guerin, Sam Harrell, Jeff Pogo, all able to come on down. The lucky dog, though, during this caution was the 8 car of Kip Easley. So Easley back onto the lead lap. And I think when it's all said and done now, with these 2 cautions late, about 17 or 18 cars here on the lead lap late in this one. So that is awesome to see, especially here from Darlington. As here we go, we get ready for another sprint to the finish, this time here tonight at Darlington. As the lights go out around the Darlington Raceway, the field will double on up and we get ready to see who walks away with the checkered flag. Can it be Bentley Glasser here, picking up his first career win of the season? Or will it be Anthony Calatoni picking up a season best 4 career wins and lead that stat? We'll have to find on out here as those two on the front row with a 6-lap dash left in this one. So here we go. The iRacing pace car heads on off, and once again, Bentley Glasser going to be in control. Has been the car to beat the second half of this race. Can he hang on for 6 more laps? They'll fire on off. Anthony Calatoni gets the better restart. Can Calatoni steal one away here? Side by side into turn number 1 for the race lead. Those two not giving each other an inch. About to trade paint. And Anthony Calatoni keeps his foot in it. He will have the advantage down the back straightaway, but here comes Glasser. Glasser down low, Calatoni up top. He will have to get that car pointed before the 84 to get the momentum. Still side by side for the race lead. That time by open palm from the flagman. It is 5 to go. As man, great race for the win in this one. Side by side for third as well as Calatoni bounces it off the wall, keeps his foot in it. He will take over the race lead as Bentley Glasser, I think, got tight there, had to lift, or else he got big time loose. Either way, he will fall back to 4th and maybe see his first career win slip on away right in front of him. Mike Kelly gets loose, so he will have a chance to get that position back. He may have another shot at it, though, as we get a caution flag and we'll enter in to some green-white checkers here tonight. Wow, Anthony Calatoni going to try and steal this one on away. Now we'll have to try and survive some green-white checkers as Chad Coleman up to P number 2. As let's take a look here, see what happened under the second caution. I believe it involving the 46 machine of Eli Raposa. Once again, like we saw the last 2 cautions before this, once again, another car getting loose through 3 and 4. That back end stepping on around. It looks like Landon Audick just going to get a little piece of the 46 machine. As that will slow down the field, like I said, to the 5th time here tonight. But this will take up one of our 3 green-white checkered. So, if needed, we do have 3 green-white checkers here tonight. And I tell you what, this could definitely be a track where you can use them on up, because calamity can happen any corner on any lap here. As once again under our caution flag here tonight, and with this probably at the start finish line going to be about, at least 2 laps to the green flag. So not going to be missing any sort of action. And I think with this time, I'm going to go get a drink of water, get ready to call a green-white checkered here tonight at Darlington. But before we do, let's turn it on over to our partners over at Premier Setup Shops.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
So under this fifth caution, the 04 machine of Doug Sigmund was able to get the lucky dog here. So Doug able to get back on the lead lap. And I think that puts about, once again, still at 16, 17 drivers here on the lead lap. And here we go. Interesting choice. We saw Anthony Calatoni there take the lead from the outside. Calatoni, though, going to choose to restart here on the inside lane. So lights are out around the Darlington Raceway. We are going green next time by for attempt number 1 of 3 of green-white checkers here. Of course, green-white checkers, same rules as we've had here this season. If we get the white flag, we are racing back to the checker no matter what happens out there on the racetrack. If we do get the caution there on that first lap before we get the white, we'll slow down the field, re-rack them, and send it on again to another green-white checkered. But here we go. It's going to be Anthony Calatoni and Chad Coleman on the front row. Calatoni in the 84. Going to have control here on the restart on that inside lane. We saw Glasser go early, didn't work out too well. Calatoni goes middle of the box. Calatoni, though, will get clear, so he checks the first box, does what he needs to do on the start to get clear. Now battle for second, side by side here through turns 1 and 2. Oh, one car goes on around. That is the 19 machine of Cody Meadows. Meadows will bring it to a stop here down the back straightaway, and that will draw the caution here for the 6th time. As I think Eli Raposa might have some more damage. Yeah, that 46 machine, a little bit more nose damage, and that car not driving straight. That left front definitely towed on in, and I might call it an end to the 46s. Let's take a look here, see what happened to Cody Meadows. As like I saw Meadows, yeah, you see right there, way up against the fence there through the middle of the corner. And let's see, does he get a piece of the wall? Man, that camera didn't really do justice. This should show better. Does Meadows get the wall? Does Johnny Barker get into the left rear there? As Meadows maybe a little bit loose against the fence, but Johnny Barker leaving almost zero breathing room between the two cars. And that will involve the 6 as he will come to spin. And oh, that's where Raposa will get involved. A big hit to the door of the 6 of Barker. So those guys, of course, fighting for a top 10 run there, and that will go out the window with that. Both those cars with some heavy damage, and like I said, about 16 cars here on the lead lap. So this now goes into green-white checkered number 2 of 3. So these drivers do have one more attempt in their back pocket if they need it, but we'll see if that is the case here. First couple have shown that maybe it will be the case. And if we get to that last one, they wreck on that first lap under green flag, you know, this race will end under caution. So that's probably what no driver wants to have. So we'll see if they can survive here this second green-white caution of the evening. As it looks like it was a 60 machine of Steve Vest getting one of those 2 laps back. So maybe one of the few drivers hoping for another green-white checkered would be the 60 machine, because then he's back on the lead lap, can make up maybe a few positions when it's all said and done. But here we go. once again here tonight, the field will double on up. And look at this, Mike Kelly now up on the front row. So once again, it's going to be Anthony Calatoni back to the point, but now Mike Kelly up on the front row. Those two going to be the front row. Bentley Glasser able to get up to third here. Once again, going to be inside of row number 2. Then to his outside, Chad Coleman in the 38 and 4th. Steve Ritter into the top 5. He will restart on the inside of row number 3. And how about to his outside? Charles Van Schaik in that 41 machine CVS into 6th here when it's all said and done. So here we go. Green, white, checkered, number 2 of the night. Anthony Calatoni, Mike Kelly on the front row. iRacing pace car heads on down now, and now it becomes the time. Calatoni went middle of the box last time. He saw Glasser go early, didn't work on out. Does he go late in this box? No, he doesn't. He goes early. It works out well for him as we head back to green flag racing. Calatoni by himself out in front. Bentley Glasser will take a peek to the inside of Mike Kelly. Not able to keep the momentum. Here comes Chad Coleman to the outside. Right behind them, CVS and Brandon Guerin going to lean on each other. Here comes Joe Hudson in the middle as Brandon Guerin across the nose. The one car hard into the fence. Guerin will somehow keep that car rolling. Joe Hudson in the fence as well. Guerin, his car is broke. You see it snap to the outside wall. But we get the white flag. We are racing back to the checkered. Deep in this one here, a lot of cars fighting for position right here on the racetrack. Joe Hudson to the outside of Sam Harrell. Hudson hard in the wall. That could open up the door for easily. Chris Proger will lean on Joe Hudson here. As wow, what a race for position there. But off of turn number 4, Anthony Calatoni will set the season record right now. 4th career win here. Mike Kelly will bring it home second, and Chad Coleman will round out the podium when it's all said and done. Wow, what a finish. Sparks flying on that final lap. I'm sure drivers not going to be happy with each other, but at least one driver that's going to be pretty happy. The 84 machine of Anthony Calatoni, I believe, led only about 10 or so laps, but the last 10 or so laps he did lead, and will pick up the win here tonight as Anthony Calatoni going to burn it down here on the front stretch of Darlington. I tell you what, folks, pretty fitting that a throwback paint scheme here wins at Darlington. It just feels right for that to happen as Anthony Calatoni burning it on down here at Darlington for, like I said, career win number 4 and win number 4 on the season. Right now, he will lead the way into the playoffs for the time being. As don't go anywhere, folks. We will be right back here with the post-race show. So we will be right back here from Darlington to chat with our top 3 finishers. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back after a quick commercial break.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we head back here to Darlington Raceway to chat with our top three here tonight. The first driver we will be talking to here is the 38 machine. It is Chad Coleman here. Chad, do you get a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, man. First and foremost, how we feeling over 140 laps here done at Darlington to finish up on the podium?
Well, the first part of the race, I felt pretty good, and then as the race went on, it just seemed to tighten up more and more, I guess, with rubber and the temp changing a little bit here. But other than that, we was pretty good for half the race. Right there at the end, Bentley had us all covered, and then I think he ended up taking 2 tires right there on that last start, and had that last caution that kind of killed him. But it was a pretty good race. Had a lot of fun right there on those restarts. Run 2 wide side by side for 2 laps around Darlington is not easy to do, and it was a lot of fun. It was able not to kill each other.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was a great race to watch here, and like you said, impressive way to finish that race. 2 by 2 throughout that field and whatnot, and how you guys survived, I don't know how, because it had to be so tough side by side like that on old tires and knowing what's at stake, right, to walk away with this checkered flag.
Oh yeah, we were leaning on each other. It's just nobody messed up right there, so it was fun. We all survived it.
Yeah, that we did here, and yeah, Chad, it looked like this 38 machine was on rails, like you said. First part of this race started out incredible for you on the pole, led the first 25 laps, but then kind of the first big decision of the night coming on that first caution of pitting for tires or not. What was the game plan there, and how did you think it worked out?
Well, I think we made the right decision by pitting. I think that was the call to make. It's just we got held up right there on that restart. I got doored by, I don't remember the car, but we got into one and I got doored, and I got Mike and Anthony in front of me, and it's hard to pass here. I mean, I ended up getting back by them, but then like I was saying, about 75, 80 laps in, the track just light switched and it went tight, and what I was doing wasn't working anymore, and I couldn't find it after that.
Yeah, definitely. This track always makes you stay on your toes, each and every lap. But you had a factor like that, and, it makes this place, so much more difficult and can be that much more frustrating,
Yeah, it was definitely frustrating because the line I was running that was making really good time, just, man, after, halfway through the race, a little after halfway, it went away. And after that, it was just tight everywhere.
Yeah, that seemed like the case, because it seemed like even fresh tires, only really had a good lifespan about, those first 30 laps. And then it seemed like everyone, depending on how you took care of your tires, kind of fell back into the same amount of same pace of lap times that was.
Yeah, we really did. Everybody seemed to fall off at about that same rate. Whatever Bentley started doing right there about midway through the race, though, I mean, I don't know exactly what he done. I probably need to go back and watch it in the replay, but just to see what he was doing. But man, he had us covered by probably a tenth or two. And clean racetrack he was about a tenth or two better.
Yeah, no, he definitely had a magic light switch in that car to be that much faster that late in a run. And I gotta ask, Chad, were you shifting here throughout their entire run? Because we rode on board with the 36, and maybe it was the iRacing sound glitch, but to me at least it seemed like he was leaving it in fourth around this whole racetrack.
I mean, he could have been. I mean, that's one way to help it not, to overrun the corner. But I mean, the only time I was shifting was going down the back straightaway. I would catch fifth going down the back and then shift into fourth, middle of 3 and 4, and that's about where I was at. But it could have ran. You could have ran it in fourth, and maybe it did. Maybe it could have helped you save a little bit tire. Just not being able to overdrive the corner.
Yeah, it definitely could have helped. Could have kept, a little bit more heat in the right rear, keep that tire wear a little bit more to help it from building tight. Because as you probably know really well on iRacing, I know it as well. Once you get a car to build tight on iRacing, it is so hard to get it to unbuild tight, especially in these next gen cars.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why these things you just about have to shift in them everywhere.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's definitely the case. Well, Chad, once again, congrats on the P number 3. Next week we head to North Wilkesboro, man. How you feeling about that place?
That'll be interesting. I haven't ran it since. I guess they got the new track in iRacing now, but I haven't ran it since then. And I think the last time I ran anything there was the '87 cars. So a cup car around there would be interesting.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, the '87s there are one of the best car track combos there on the sim, and that place, can put on some too wide racing, but it always seems like, especially these big, heavier cars, it might be the top sides where it's at, right?
Yeah, yeah. These cars seem to want to migrate to the top about everywhere now for whatever reason.
Yeah, definitely the case. We saw that here tonight, even at Darlington. A lot of people getting some Darlington stripes, and I think, Chad, you might have a few even on your car, right?
Oh yeah, I hit the wall a few times, especially late off too.
Yeah, that place is definitely the trickiest part of the racetrack. But yeah, man, once again, congrats on the P number 3 from here tonight at Darlington. Another great showing for you. Always a lot of speed, and always seems like when it comes to those last few laps, man, you're always in the fight and the thick of it to win these things. So, Chad, before we let you go and celebrate another podium finish, we're going to go hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank here tonight from Darlington.
I thank all the admins and series and league sponsors here with 802. Thank you for doing the broadcasting, and you do a great job with that. And shout out to Cal and Tony for winning the race. I told him on the last restart if he stay beside Bentley going into one, he's got him. It took him 2 laps to clear him, but he finally worked up.
Yeah, that he did, and an impressive move. We're going to definitely have to get Cal Tony's point of view and his thoughts there, but an impressive move by him, but more impressive run for you here tonight. P number 3, Chad. Always a great time talking to you, my man. And you take care, and I'm sure we'll be talking again here in the near future.
Hope so. Thanks, man.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was our 3rd place finisher in the 38 machine, Chad Coleman. Now we'll head up to our runner-up finisher, that being the 43 machine of Mike Kelly. Mike, you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Brett, I got you, buddy. How's it going?
Man, it's going pretty good. I guess you guys really kept me on my toes here tonight in this race. How are you feeling, my man? 140 laps. It had to be a workout.
Yeah, and plus I ran a bunch of laps Friday too. Well, that had to be a pretty good show, I would assume, for Darlington. I guess it could have got boring there for a little while with the long green run, but even through that, there was a lot of good strategy stuff going on with guys pitting at different times, and you never knew if that dreaded yellow was going to come out and kind of put the hose on you. So it was a pretty interesting race. Got a lot of fun there at the end when we were all up front battling and dooring each other and trying not to bounce off the wall. That's about as good as it can probably get at Darlington without dying.
Oh, 100%, especially with these next-gen cars that, always seem to build on the tighter side to have that kind of racing. And I always tell people, I'll take any day of the week, to have a long green flag run to chat versus trying to chat under caution, right? And I'm sure you drivers feel the same way.
I wish cautions were turned off, but that's a separate subject. Yeah, didn't want to see that caution either, really, there at the end. I mean, I had no chance to win it. Bentley was, he was a rocket there at the end. So he was like a tenth of a lap faster than me and just pulling away like crazy. But Anthony was kind of creeping up on me, but I felt I had second or third pretty secure there. didn't really want to see a yellow because more often than not, yeah, you get a chance to go out and win the race, but you also get a good chance to get killed at Darlington. So I was going to be happy with where I was, but it turned out good. And I pulled off a second because the restarts got wild, and it's just circumstances. I mean, when you get to those restarts at Darlington at the end, you can lose eight spots before you even know what direction you're pointing. So got fortunate on the last green white checker to still start on the outside, and still Bentley just couldn't get through the corners with his two tires there at the end. So he probably cut me a break and took it easy through 1 and 2 and gave me a chance to get a good start on the outside and get into second and come home safely.
Yeah, that you did, and like you said, man, it's not a guarantee to ever come home safely here at Darlington. You're able to do it, but man, tell us how intense those green white checkered, restarts are, because 2x2 here, takes its own finesse, but to do it on a green white checkered, knowing what's at stake, the end of the race right there, man, that had to be pins and needles for you guys.
Yeah, definitely get your elbows up in the seat. And I mean, I've raced a ton with Anthony and Chad and Bentley, so I trust them and know that we can go out and run hard and clean and fair. And Chad and I leaned on each other's doors on that first restart there at the end, and he came out of there with a run, and we were laughing. And then on the next restart, he had a good run, but Anthony pushed up across the track, and it just these cars they were fine. The aero push wasn't horrible, but you'd get right up to a certain point, and the car would just take off. So you almost had to set up a swing shot type pass to make a pass, because if you tried to just get up on their rear end and pull out as you come out the corner, you couldn't pull under and go because it just would take off towards the wall. So that second to last restart, that happened to Chad and allowed me to get into third. And it's all just a track position game, and trying not to make any mistakes, because you know how Darlington is. You make a little mistake and hook somebody, and it causes a 10-15 car pile up, and I definitely don't want to do that in my first season racing here with these guys when I'm not really racing for points. So you got to be careful, but you got to go for it.
Yeah, that you do. It's always that fine line of racing, right? To tiptoe that nice edge of pushing the car to the limit, but never pushing it over that limit, right?
Yeah, and like you said, at Darlington, there's hardly enough room to even go one car through that exit of two, let alone racing side by side. So it was a lot of fun, and we all made it for the most part up front. I know they had some trouble in the back, but like I said, it was a really good time up there.
Yeah, that it looked like you guys were having a blast, and I tell you what, put on a great show for us at home, all the fans watching and whatnot. That was a heck of a race. But yeah, Mike, two kind of throwback paint schemes as well up on the podium. You with the STP 43, and then Anthony Calatonia's special paint scheme. That's pretty cool to see as well here at Darlington.
Yeah, it's fun running the 43. I've got I'm running it on Friday nights too, but I've got a little bit different look. But I'm an old guy, and Richard Petty, when I started watching racing, was the first guy I cheered for, and so I was always a big fan of Richard Petty. So I normally run the 2, but it wasn't available here. So when I saw the 43 was available, and Sammy always runs 42 anyway, so it's a good chance to jump on that number and have some fun with it.
Yeah, and that you have, I mean, already picking up some career wins here in this league, with the 43 machine. And I tell you what, man, seems like more times than not when you show on up, you're in contention to pick up these wins here. And it seems like doesn't matter how tricky the track is.
Yeah, it's a good fit for me. My iRating's 3,800. It used to be a little bit higher, but then dirt racing came out before they separated the two, and that knocked me down a little bit. So my rating's probably a little bit off, but uh, the competition's real level up at the top of this league, and I'm right there at that level, so I can go out and be at the front and run for wins, and that's always a lot of fun, obviously.
Oh yeah, for sure. And having a good time. You always hate to have a race where, especially like tonight, get a late green white checkered and get taken out, and you're like, man, I just wasted, an hour and a half just to get wrecked. That's no fun.
Exactly, that's the worst. I mean, you'd rather get wrecked out on lap 1 than see the finish line in the distance and then have something happen and have it snatched away from you. But hey, that's racing. That's why we do it.
Yep, that's always the unknown, and that's why people always say, right, it takes a little bit of that lady luck to end up with a good finish.
yeah, we can't all win. So that's what's fun, and it's frustrating. And you go and you throw some things around and have a soda and watch some TV, think about it, but then you're ready to go the next race. So I just want to have a good time and have a chance to win, and I'm happy.
Oh yeah, for sure. And racing's addictive enough that we'll go to bed no matter how angry you are. You wake up the next day and you're like, man, I'm ready for the next one.
Yeah, I'm a very competitive person, and I've probably quit in my head, 1,000 times, but you're always over it and ready to go full throttle the next race.
Oh, 100%. Well, Mike, it's always a great time chatting with you, my man. It's always a pleasure of mine to chat with you guys here, and we appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come chat with us and whatnot. But here tonight at Darlington, you finished P number 2 here, so congrats again on that. And before we let you go and celebrate the runner-up finish, we of course got to hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to here tonight.
Well, definitely want to give a shout out to the team. Chuck and Sammy threw some tires on her there late and made a charge back up into the top 10, and Scotty pulled off a top 10. So the whole team got in the top 10 tonight. So shout out to them. Shout out to Anthony for running a great race. And of course, a shout out to you, and enjoy getting up here and talking in the booth as well. So shout out to the Turn 3 Racing Network, all the admins and sponsors for 82, and of course, the smoking hot wife and the little dog Izzy.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Well, Mike, you have yourself a great rest of the night, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again here in the near future. So here tonight, though, you take care, and we'll catch you on next week.
Thanks, Brett. Appreciate it. Have a great one.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was our runner-up finisher, the 43 machine of Mike Kelly. Now we'll head down to Victory Lane and talk to the man of the hour. It is the driver of the 84. It is Anthony Calatoni down here in Victory Lane. Anthony, do you got a copy?
Yes, sir. How are we after my unexpected vacation day last week, I guess you want to say?
Yeah, man, I tell you what, we are pumped up, but I don't know if we're pumped up as much as you, my man. Over 140 laps, and when it comes time to it at the end, you're able to steal one away and end up in Victory Lane. How you feeling?
Feel really good for Darlington. This is my worst. This is one of my worst tracks I ever raced at. I don't know what it is. I could never figure it out. But stealing one is an understatement of what you just said. I lucked into this one. Chad and Bentley were the classes of the field of the whole night. But just right time, right place. Little luck there on that one restart side by side with Bentley, and luckily none of us died.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you guys had to be, I said it before, on pins and needles those last couple green-white checkers, because it takes such a finesse, any time to go side by side here through the corner. But then to do it on a green-white checker, knowing what's at stake, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was shaking just trying to run side by side with Bentley there, trying to get in front of him because the air is important, and just that dirty air getting thrown behind you on them is so important. But I I was kind of a little out of breath driving so hard.
Yeah, I could believe so, because I even said, during the race here, this track isn't one of those tracks like a mile and a half, where you can go right on around, try and hit your marks, but, can kind of just click off laps. Here tonight, you got to be up on the wheel, almost white knuckling this thing each and every lap.
Absolutely. I don't know if your broadcast caught me at some point, but I think it was coming off of turn 3 because if I would have hit turn 2, the wall over there, I would have killed the car. But I was coming off of 4, and I just zoned out, and it just slid up towards the wall. I'm like, and I scraped it. I didn't kill the car, but just something like that is takes your full concentration the whole race, because you have to hit your mark or close to your mark each and every turn of this racetrack at least.
Yeah, and we actually did catch that on the broadcast. I wanted to bring that point up to you. We see damage on your race car? Did it affect the handling of it? Because we heard from many people that, this thing was tight, built tight, and I'm sure any sort of right front damage definitely didn't help that situation either.
So lucky enough for me, I only had a handful of seconds of damage from that, and that was from when it just did a surprise snap on me, when Mike was letting me go in 3 and 4. It surprisingly snapped, and I was going to catch it, but it just, with the quick turning boxes in these things, they they just can do that. And unfortunately, the right front got the wall, but it didn't damage it too bad. Uh, the handling was thrown off a little bit, but it wasn't too bad where it was going to hurt me. Um, I only fixed a couple seconds of it, and maybe it ended up helping. Who knows?
Yeah, it could have very well because man, those green white checkers. I mean, that first late race restart to get the car not only to stick on the high side, but kind of keep your foot in it, bounce it off the wall, take the race lead. I mean, tell us what was going through your mind there on that restart to take over the race lead there.
Get in front of Bentley as fast as I could. um, yeah, I mean, just try and get in front of Bentley. Um, I had to pinch him a little bit, not too much where we would have died, but I wanted to do it as clean as possible, and I think that was as clean as side by side at Darlington as you can get, and it was a blast doing it. I have no problems with him. He bumped me a couple times. I have no problems with that. But once we got the clean air, we just tried to set sail for those last couple laps. But I'm not going to say the green and white checkers helped, but they may have helped.
Yeah, I tell you what, of course, ending things off not with one but two green white checkers. I mean, that'd be a little bit tough for you because we saw the first green white checkered. You went middle of the box, it worked out. You saw Bentley go early in the box, didn't work out for him, but it had to be pretty stressful picking. Hey, we got to go here and kind of keep people on their toes, right? Because it was all a matter of getting into turn number one by yourself, right?
Yeah, that's what you wanted. You wanted to try and get into one single file, depending on who was on your inside or outside. Uh, if any of the guys that I was comfortable with obviously, I mean, you saw those 2 laps there, 4 of us running side by side. Um, it could be done, but most likely you want to be single file going into turn 1 and try and set the run up coming off of 2, get the run down the back, and try and get them in 3. But 3 and 4 is no joke either.
Yeah, I mean, none of these corners, are a cakewalk, especially adding some cars around you or whatnot. But Anthony, able to walk away with your victory. This is actually career win number 4 for you in the Sunday series. And I don't know if you know, but this actually has you leading the playoffs now going into them once that reset happens because you currently have 4 wins this season. That's the most out of anyone with this win here tonight. So a big time win for you as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. 4 wins in one season. I think I've never even came close to that in other leagues. I just read about all the bonus points for wins for the playoffs. I didn't know they were doing that. So that's pretty badass. Let's see. I don't know how many more weeks we have here of the until the playoffs start, but let's see what everyone else can do. I'm sure Jeff will try and get a win in somewhere. I know I'm probably gonna have to battle him. We missed Jim Ott today. That was shocking, but yeah, we're just trying to carry the momentum, over into the playoffs. Unfortunately, I had to miss. I would have been here last Sunday, but uh, we over here in New Jersey, we got hit with that big storm that was going across the whole United States there, and I ended up getting I snowplow for work, so I was out there for 30 hours pushing white gold.
Whew, yeah, I'm sure they had you working as many hours as you probably could be allowed to, right?
Oh, it was exhausting. 7 a.m. Sunday to 1 p.m. Monday. It was a long day.
Whew. But luckily, man, you come back here, pick up the win, and yeah, to talk about the regular season, there's only now one race left in that North Wilkesboro, and then we head to the reset in the playoffs. So
Oh, I didn't know there was one. That's pretty cool, North Wilkesboro. I think I raced there once with the Cup car, and it was like when it first came out. So that's going to be more of a wild card than Talladega, I think, last week.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think no one's really going to have too many laps because they actually released a new version of North Wilkesboro with the new repave as well. So it's not even going to be the same 87 track that maybe you have a few laps on, which could be a good or a bad thing, right?
I guess, but let's uh let's see. Repaves are difficult. Trying to deal with the tires and trying to figure it out. I guess I may actually have to practice beforehand next week.
Yep, for sure. And then we head to the playoffs, and that's where things can get wild. But Anthony here tonight, an awesome win here tonight, a great race for you. Thanks again for being part of it, chatting with me after the race. Man, it was a good one. So, Anthony, before we let you go and celebrate this win, we're going to go hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank, whether on this beautiful looking throwback paint scheme, you had to mention that, or teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast here.
Absolutely. Obviously we're gonna have to thank the Talking Giants boys that are on the car each and every week, along with the Rebuilding Warriors program. John Boy Media, who Talking Giants works under. Make sure you check out Talking Giants. They release 2 new episodes every twice a week so far during the off season on YouTube. And whenever you can, make sure you get over onto their podcast, give them a like, follow, and subscribe on their platforms, YouTube, and I believe the Apple Store too. But other than that, I gotta thank Wesley. Wesley, one of my teammates, he painted this beautiful throwback car, but we're gonna have to update it now. But and the 802 boys for running the league, all their sponsors, and I gotta thank you, Brett. I go back and watch these broadcasts, and you do a fantastic job. And we couldn't show people what we love to do without you showing them.
Yeah, man, we appreciate the shout out there, and we got to give a shout out to you guys for putting on the great show that all of us get to enjoy as well. So, Anthony, once again, congrats on career win number 4 here on Sunday nights. You, my man, go celebrate it, enjoy the week, and we'll catch you next week for the regular season finale at North Wilkesboro.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was our race winner, Anthony Calatoni, getting the job done here tonight. So let's get things wrapped on up here and get the show on the road. Of course, we got to thank each and every one of you guys viewers, whether watching live or the replay. Also got to give a big shout out to the engagement in the YouTube chat land. Always awesome to see. We also got to thank the 802 iRacing League. Like I said, appreciate each and every one of these drivers. 30 drivers loaded into the session here tonight. It looks like about 28 of them finished, so that is great to see. Appreciate them to put on a show that all of us get to enjoy here. So with the 802, we also got to thank quite a few sponsors. That, of course, being BG Graphix. If you want an iRacing wrap done, be sure to hit up BG Graphix there, and they'll get you set straight. Riptide Radio for some of the best beach and boogie music. Check them on out. Also, GStone Motorsports, as well as Stone, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. So let's head through tonight's race results from the Lady in Black 185 here at Darlington. Anthony Calatoni picking up the win here tonight. Mike Kelly will finish in second, and Chad Coleman will round out the podium here. The guy that seemed like the car to beat, Bentley Glasser, will finish in fourth. A heartbreak for him. Steve Ritter will finish inside the top 5 and will finish P number 5. Chris Van Schaik there in the 41 will bring it home in 6th position. 7th going to Sam Harold. 8th is Kip Easley. 9th is Chris Proger, and Proger, biggest mover of the race, up 17 positions from where he started. And Scott Simley was able to finish there with a top 10. Finishing 11th was Joe Hudson. Doug Sigmund will finish in 12th. Johnny Barker in 13th. 14th will be Jeff Pogo. Brandon Guerin will bring it home in 15th. 16th going to Cody Meadows. Steve Vest will finish in 17th. 18th will be Dan Holcroft. Finishing in 19th here was Eli Raposa. Then in 20th is Frank Zingen. Shannon Wood 21st. Landon Audit 22nd. 23rd going to Ron Holyfield. Ariba Caton 24th. 25th will be Rob Lowe. Chris Brown will bring it home in 26th. Wesley Donaldson in 27th. And Nick Larson here rounding out the field that took the green flag. So yeah, that will do it here tonight from Darlington. Be sure to tune into next week, folks, as it is the regular season finale. We will set the 15-car playoffs here at the end of the next time we come on back. And I believe, yeah, we do have a break. So February 22nd will be the next Sunday. We will be live. And like I said, that will be the time for the regular season finale. So you won't want to miss that here in 2 weeks. But that will do it here for me tonight. We, of course, got to thank here our partners over at Turn 3, that being Premier Setup Shops. Be sure to check them out with the link in the description. Even if you don't buy anything, a click from that would go a long way, because that will let them know that, hey, us from Turn 3 sent you. So as they support us, if we can support them back, would be greatly appreciated. But that will do it here tonight. Everyone take care, stay safe, have a great rest of your week. And I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.